Well, if only there were a saying for a negative financial impact for a company that got woke. Oh, yeah, get woke, go broke. It's been a while since I've done that, but the NFL ratings are in the tank, the NBA ratings are in the tank, and it's because of all of the activism they have now injected in one of the few respites for the American working class human who just likes to unplug for a few hours and get way too into a sporting event that doesn't really matter. Now, I will tell you that I understand that people have particular opinions about this. Here's where I land. Now, I know Angry Joe a little bit of a meltdown this morning, but even he clearly didn't understand my perspective. I understand that watching a sporting event isn't a big deal. I was into sports very deeply for all my home teams, Bucks, Packers, Brewers, basically up until this year. Season ticket holders for the Bucks. I've been on the waiting list for Packers season tickets since I was 7. All right? I'm not going to say I'm the biggest sports fan, but I'm a big sports fan. I deal with politics, activism, stuff like that all day at work because it's part of my job. It's on TV, it's in the streets, it's on the billboards, and I don't want to watch it in my sports ball event. It's very easy for me to just turn it off. Now, what happens is people get really emotional about this. I don't care if you don't care. If having political talk before, during, and after your sporting events isn't a big deal to you, it doesn't bother you, then you should watch all the sports you want and not feel bad about it. But also understand that I don't want to see it. I don't want to pay to see it. And so I won't watch it. It's very simple. Now, people will gaslight you and call you racist and all this other absurd things. Well, it's not a big deal. That's my point, my friends. It isn't a big deal. Watching basketballs go into a hole or footballs move around on the field isn't a big deal. So me not watching it shouldn't be a big deal either. Does that make sense? So if you're somebody that doesn't care to watch this stuff in their sports, like me, and you turn it off, you'll realize that all of a sudden, really nothing changes. You get some more free time. Sure, I check the box scores, or I might log in and see how the score is going during the playoffs. I just didn't watch on TV in the NBA. Does that mean I necessarily disagree with the political messaging? No. But gaslighters will say that. Oh, you don't have a problem. Angry Joe, will you have a problem with unity? No, unity's cool. I don't need multimillionaire athletes telling me how to think. I certainly don't need the NBA telling me, get out there and vote. Because only 20% of the NBA even registered to vote. So pardon me if I don't care what Giannis Antetokounmpo tells me to do with my vote. I love watching him play the game, but maybe you all should get out and vote. Maybe you all should come volunteer some time or resources to the communities that you say you care so much about. I don't want to talk about this. I want to talk about whether or not Giannis choked again in the playoffs. What I want to talk about is whether or not Patrick Mahomes looks like the same quarterback. But that's not what I get to talk about. And since I can't get to talk about that, I tune out. But understand this. I don't care if you watch it. I don't judge you for it. I don't care one bit. I just don't. Why is this such a big deal to some people? People get so wrapped up in sports that they can't possibly fathom somebody not watching it. I've watched the NFL as long as I can remember. I've watched the NBA as long as I can remember. Major League Baseball as long as I can remember. I don't have a hockey team in my state, but I watch the Admirals, which is a minor league team. All right? I love sports. We don't care who knows. Oh, that's a Lonely Island song. And I play sports video games. Not anymore, but I used to. It's not me making a huge deal over something if I don't want to watch it. I just turn the channel. Or you know what? I work on my model train. Or I find some time, 3 hours is a lot of time for me to go. I could go fishing. I could go do some hobby grade RCing again. It's been a long time since I went out rock crawling. NFL ratings down massively. 16%. The initial wave of NFL ratings for Thursday night's kickoff have arrived, and preliminary numbers are sharply down for the NFL. Think about that. Everybody's at home. You'd think viewership would be up, all right? A lot of states where you would have a pub that might have 100 people watching one TV, now that's 100 people watching 100 TVs. But they didn't tune in. Why? Why do you think? According to Deadline, Kansas City game rated 5.2 among adults 18 to 49, the key demographic for advertisers, and boasted a preliminary total of 16.4 million viewers. That's very good. At the moment, the ratings are adjusted upward as more reports roll in. That's 16.1% drop from last year's kickoff between the Packers and the Bears. And if you don't even watch sports ball, this should have been bigger based on the matchup. Two premier AFC teams. AFC Championship game rematch. Nobody cared. Critics of the league will point to the NFL's newfound political activism as the reason for the decline. While that may be true, ratings are inexact science. Okay, so you're going to... Okay, fine. Well, I think you're actually going to see a bigger drop in week 2. Capable of detecting action but not motivation. Possible reasons for the initial decline include social justice activism, sports fatigue. How far did you have to stretch to blame that? No preseason? What? Nobody likes preseason. Only the hardcore fans watch preseason games, like me. Competition. You mean it went up against a Lakers playoff game? I don't believe that was a reason. NFL always competes against other big events. The matchup. The Chiefs are one of the league's top draws, and the Texans have struggled to draw attention on the national stage. Yeah, maybe. Last year's Packers-Bears game was far more attractive national matchup and was more of a competitive game, with the Packers winning 10-3, with the 22 million viewers. No, I'll tell you why. It was the social justice activism. Why? Because we can look at exactly what happened to the NBA. Nearly 40% of respondents in a new Harris poll said that they were watching less basketball because the league has become too political. NBA ratings have plunged because of racial justice protests. Any idiot could have told you that. And you know what? Don't let someone call you all sorts of bad names just because you don't want to watch politics in your sports. Don't let them do that. Don't let them project on you what their bad opinions of themselves. It's not a big deal to not watch sports. And this is the silent majority really saying, yep, I can just not watch it. You know what? My basement's kind of a mess. I can clean that. I can sweep up the... I'm just not into it. I watch sports as an escape. Just like people play video games for an escape. You can call that selfish, and you'd be right. But pardon me if I don't take a little bit of me time. I just don't understand what's so hard about that. The NFL knew this was going to happen. The NFL knew because they could have seen it watching the NBA. By the way, the NBA ratings, 40% in the... we're down nearly 40% in the last 2 years. NBA has a ratings problem. It has for a while. Ratings have, for the first round of the playoffs, were down 27% from last season. 40% from the season before. Donald Trump tweets saying, people are tired of watching the highly political NBA. Basketball ratings are way down, and they won't be coming back. I hope football and baseball are watching and learning because the same thing will happen to them. Yep. And they went right down. It's like they knowingly sunk the ship. It's hard to say what political means, though. The poll found 34% of Republicans say they actively follow the NBA, with 48% of Democrats. So Democrats are the ones tuning out. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? So it isn't just these hardcore, salty Republicans that are tuning out because they're snowflakes. The idea that watching a sporting event is any measure of someone's manhood, womanhood, is ridiculous. It's literally 100 millionaires running around playing with a ball, all right? And I say this as a guy that's shed tears over playoff losses, all right? I understand the commitment to sports, but understand this, NFL. There are a lot of people just like me who don't really say anything. We just don't watch anymore. And you can get upset, but you did it to yourselves. This article here on Outkick by Jason Whitlock. Last night, Chiefs fans smart to boo, Texans and Dolphins smart to disavow empty BLM gestures. Last night, the few fans that were in the stadium, you could hear booing during their moment of unity on the field. And people like Angry Joe will say, well, you're against unity? No, I'm just against any forms of activism on the field. You know what? You can get rid of the national anthem too. I don't care. I don't watch the NFL for the national anthem. I don't watch the NFL for political advice or political talk. I don't watch the NBA to read social justice on the back of people's jerseys. I don't watch baseball to see my players kneel. And you know what? There's a lot of people like that. And you're not going to call me any kind of ist for wanting to just enjoy sports. Some of the 17,000 Kansas City Chiefs fans allowed to attend the NFL season opener, Chiefs-Texans clash, booed during a pregame moments of unity because the, quote, moment was unbridled by the BLM slogan scrolled across the jumbotrons. Mystery solved. Chiefs fans aren't stupid. And oh, by the way, there are plenty of black fans in the stands too. So get out of here with that, oh, white people stuff. They're informed, passionate, and fearless. They love Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, but they love their country more than foolish players who have swallowed BLM's ideology, propaganda, and vision for America. Social media and the athletes addicted to Twitter and Instagram define BLM as a long overdue fight for racial equality. Many Americans see BLM exactly for what it is, a clever disguise for Marxists and anarchists who seek to destroy the American freedoms, and those citizens are growing more comfortable expressing their disdain for the BLM movement. That's right. BLM protests have been, quote, mostly peaceful. Studies show 93% of them have been peaceful. You know what? The time in the 50s and 60s, segregationists did not respond with loose water hoses, batons, and dogs at civil rights protests. Most of the time they didn't. We've seen enough bad behavior to know that BLM isn't peaceful or unifying. It's not difficult to understand why the so-called moment of unity triggered Chiefs fans. Unifying under the BLM umbrella is an equivalent of unifying at a Klan rally. No dice, no way. There are far better umbrellas. And this is, this is a great article by Whitlock too. You see here, heck, the athletes are smarter than the pandering media members feigning outrage. The Chiefs and Texans downplayed the booing. The Texans stayed in their locker room during the playing of two separate national anthems. Yes, that's right. They had the black national anthem. You're standing together for unity, but you have a black people anthem and a white people anthem. The Miami Dolphins released a video explaining that they're tired of gestures and slogans and that they're going to skip participating in the Lift Every Voice and Sing and the Star Spangled Banner. This attempt to unify only creates more divide. Based Dolphins. I'm kind of a Dolphins fan now. So in the video that included head coach Brian Flores, so we'll skip this song and dance, and as a team we'll stay inside. We need to change hearts, not just a response to pressure. Enough. No more fluff and empty gestures. Exactly. That's why I'll be tuning out. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.